Hey guys, John Cristani here. First of all, congratulations on making it this far. We're towards the end of the line on the training, and but now we're actually getting into some of the this is what I consider the most essential elements of AdWords advertising, and that's optimization. So the beginnings of optimization is knowing the single most important number in all of your AdWords advertising, which is your CPA target. Whether you're going for a lead, a phone call, a sale, or whatever that is, you need to know your CPA target. How much are you willing to pay for that email? How much are you willing to pay for that lead? How much are you willing to pay for that phone call or sale? Now, typically, what I recommend is a 2 to 1 ROAS, which is a 2 to 1 return on advertising spend. So 2 to 1 ROAS. So that means if you're making, let's say you make $500 from the sale, you should spend somewhere along the lines of $166 per sale on advertising. So again, if you make $500 profit per sale, that would be you would be able to set your CPA. 166 would be a comfortable CPA to get that product sale online. So obviously you have to back into these numbers. If you're doing lead gen, you need to factor in your closing rates. You need to factor in the numbers of qualified leads. You need to factor in the number of leads that are uncontactable, etc. But overall, you should be spending about a third or 2 to 1 ROAS per sale. Now, and obviously this changes for things with very long sales cycles or what have you, but this is the best rule of thumb to always ensure you're profitable. Now, optimization is the fact is looking over all of the data you have and being able to optimize around that CPA. So in the case of Bedroom Guardian, the CPA is $35. So this is a product I'm going to use just because it's an advertising account I have active and I'm willing to show the clients all right with it. Um, it we're optimizing around $35 per converted click. You'll see. So one thing I recommend is you'll see in the columns there are a lot of different conversion metrics. Let's go down here. Sorry. There we go. Now Google has a little trick. They can be a little tricky because one thing they do is they have conversions, converted clicks. They have another. They have estimated total conversions, etc. Cross-device conversions, yeah. And these are kind of, then yeah. So they have converted clicks, conversions, estimated total conversions, and estimated cross-device conversions. So what you're really interested in is converted clicks. These are conversions caused directly by AdWords. Now, these other metrics that they're looking at that I'd mentioned are each one is slightly more inflated than the next. And what they're doing is they're saying, well, maybe you got some phone calls, or maybe, some people converted on other devices, or maybe people converted from, they clicked on a Google ad, or maybe they viewed a Google ad, but then they converted by coming through Twitter advertising. You don't want those. You want to just measure people who have come through AdWords. That's going to make sure if you're using that number, it's justifiable and you'll always be profitable. You're not, if you go by these other numbers, what will happen is you'll end up, if you look at all of your different advertising avenues, it'll say you got 1,000 conversions today. But in reality, you'll say, well, we only got 500 leads. How am I getting 1,000 conversions? It's because each advertising channel is trying to inflate their own numbers to make them look better and ultimately get more of your advertising dollars. You don't want that. Use converted clicks. Optimize around cost per converted click. Hope that makes sense. Let's exit out of this. So we're optimizing around a $35 cost per converted click in this account. You need to know your numbers. I'm not going to set up the tracking programs for you. You need to, it's very easy. This is all stuff that you can actually just Google yourself, how to place AdWords conversion pixel, and you'll get a plethora of information. Each AdWords account will have a rep, or they have a support line you can contact. This is information you can find readily available online. I'm not going to go over this because I want to spend my time with you going over valuable information that's going to help you take your business to the next level, not some information you could get on a support line. I hope that makes sense. So let's go over this. So we're optimizing around this. Now, the first level of optimization is by network. So by network, let's go into this. Network, the easiest way is to go segment right here, network with search partners. Now what you'll see is you can see Google search, and that's google.com, and our cost per converted click is $35. Then we see search partners. Search partners, $31. So that means it's working well for us. So we're not going to take that off. Search partners, or anybody who uses Google search engines such as AOL.com is a Google search partner. If I search for bed bugs in California, if I search for acne medicines in California, you'll see, oh, here's our ad showing up. Now, these are all triggered by Google advertising. This will count as a click on Google search partners. Google has a large number of search partners: AOL, Ask.com, Huffington Post, etc. If you type in, in the search bar of many sites, it's going to say enhanced by Google or something along those lines. Sometimes the search partners don't perform as well, though, so you always want to check. It varies by each account, but it's something to be aware of and cancel out if need be. You'll see search partners is performing relatively fine on this account. Remarketing is obviously in the display network advertising. Cool. So the next thing is by keyword. So what we do is, first I'm going to get rid of this segment, just not to junk up my account. And we go into keywords. Let's look at this. We'll see bed bugs in phrase, bed bugs like that, bed bug, etc. And what you want to do is you want to make sure nothing is, over your CPA. So we see this ad group as a CPA of $34, but for some reason we have a, this is $47 and this is $49. Now that being said, there's very little data on some of these keywords. Look, we have 189 clicks on this keyword, bedbug and phrase match, and only one conversion. So that's pretty bad, because this means we're losing money on this term. Now what I'd do is I would, not going to go too far into this, but I would basically set things over a longer time period to see if that really is true over time. And what we're seeing is maybe this was just, for the same term, over a longer period of time, this word is actually converting at $37. So sure, we could lower the bid by maybe a penny or two and get that exactly at $35. But for our purposes, that's within an acceptable range. But really, the problem was we were looking at too small of a level of data. The larger amount of data you can look over, the better, because sometimes flukes happen and people just, you'll get 100 or 200 clicks and, only get one conversion. It happens. This is not, although our, some of our targeting processes are slightly scientific, marketing is still a sales related function. You can't, some people just aren't going to buy just, for no possible reason. There are a million other factors going on. Just because you don't get any sales one week, um, let's say if you're, doing telemarketing, it doesn't mean that you're a horrible person and that you can't sell. It just might mean you had an unlucky week, and that's what to kind of chalk up um, the bad performance on this word phrase match to. So again, look over a larger degree of data if um, if you don't have enough. You know, you can use statistical significance calculators. This is where those statistics classes that you took in college really come into play. Just knowledge of confidence levels, significance level rates, etc. You're able to say, okay, this is within, the performance on this is within standard deviation, or I have a high confidence level that this does or doesn't work, etc. Um, Another big thing is use of negatives. So you'll notice in all of my campaigns, I use a lot of negatives. Let's look at, so these are keywords here. Let's check out my negative keywords. Look at this. So these are all words. So these are all words I'm trying to get to show up in either other ad groups or this, that are just horrible words, or words I'm trying to get to show up in other ad groups. So you'll see chiggers, all about bed bugs, etc. These might be books. I forget why I added them. Cedar side, dryer, example, bed bug example. We don't want to see that, or exterminator. These don't fit with this group, so we just add them to the negative keyword list. Let's say we're going after gravity separators. Now, if one thing that we might, and let's do something in Uber suggest real quick. For instance, let's say a popular term is gravity separators, or is Star Trek gravity separators, because there are a lot of dorks out there that like maybe Star Trek and maybe the ships use gravity separators. A person who's looking for a Star Trek gravity separator is probably not an employer, an executive of an agricultural processing company. They're probably just looking for Star Trek gravity separators because they really like the show and they're just looking up random information about the show Star Trek. So in that case, what you'd want to do is you'd actually want to just go down here, add, Star Trek as a negative keyword and just save that, because you don't want people, that's those people aren't going to buy gravity separator. Let's look and see if we can find any of these real negative terms. So gravity separator, let's say you don't sell gravity separators in India. Now, if Oliver Manufacturing does not sell gravity separators in India, this is a word that should be negatived out. Gravity separator principal. This might be a student that is, I'm not familiar enough with this industry, and this is why it always takes a lot of time, whether if you're an agency or if you're the company, really start, or a marketing person in your company, really start learning the nuances of everything. And I Google everything. I just, what I do when I find something I don't know, is I'll look at, the principles of gravity, and I try to figure out, is this somebody looking to buy an actual machine? And what I do is I'd actually add principle as a negative in this campaign, in my campaign for Oliver Manufacturing, because nobody's looking for, people who are looking for gravity separators are not that this is a student. This is not somebody who's looking to buy. Again, you have a lot of different companies here. If you don't sell gravity separators that work with coffee, now that's again, something you would want to exclude. You need to know your product and what it works with, and there are tons of gravity separator gold, gas gravity separation. So you can get a ton of ideas just through putting your term in Uber suggest or putting your keywords in the keyword tool to figure out what you're going to have to use as negatives. There are hundreds of negatives you should probably be finding for your company based on the requirements and based on what your product does. Find those, add those, and you're going to end up saving a load of cash, and you're going to end up getting 10 times more qualified leads. Guaranteed. This is easy. Easy, people. Now, some keywords you might, just a quick note, keywords that you might not want to add as negatives would be, for instance, we have Joule gravity separator, and I'm guessing that is a brand of gravity separation devices. Dafter, Joule, I don't know. This is Indonesia. I'm not sure. Maybe it's in a different language. But the point, if you're, I wouldn't exclude other competitor companies. Like Daiwo gravity separation. I wouldn't exclude those. I wouldn't exclude the competitor terms because somebody who's looking for a competitor's gravity separator, they're still looking for a gravity separator. So it's still a useful person. I mean, not only is that person useful, but they're even more hot to buy. So don't negative out, just terms where people are looking to buy on. Even if they're not looking to buy, even if they're looking for your competitor, they're still looking to make a purchase and looking to buy your product. Should make sense. Moving onwards and upwards. Another really powerful way of optimization is by placement. So let's get into placement. So placement is just for when you're advertising on display advertising. We have to go to one of our display advertising campaigns to find that out. So let's go to display right here. Now, many of you may not be doing display. I don't recommend it for beginners, but the only display advertising campaign you should be doing is remarketing. Going broad on the Google Display Network with keyword targeting, it's useful, but really you have to have your conversion rates on your landing pages so tight and locked in to even have a chance of working on this stuff. So let's check out some of our placements right here and see how this stuff's moving along. Okay, so we're going to look in our placements. As you see, the way we're set up for targeting is we're just targeting the word bed bugs. That's it. We're saying show our ad on any site that displays Google AdSense that also contains some words related to bed bugs. Basically what Google does is they crawl, they have one of their robots crawl the page and they say, hey, this has material related, the word bed bugs on it, so we're going to show our ads there. Now, one of the big problems is there's so many games out there. What you want to do is you're going to want to you usually want to exclude games, because lots of times, let's say, one example I have is I was advertising in the gold industry, and a big problem we ran into is when I advertised on gold, I think buy gold in Display Network, and the problem was there's so many games out there that ask you to buy gold, like Farmville or what have you, Warcraft, all these little games people play on their apps or their phone, and they want to buy gold. So our ads were showing, we're looking for people that are 75 years and older that want to roll over their retirement into gold. So we're looking for old people, $50,000 plus sort of deals, and we're getting all these 18-year-olds on mobile devices playing Farmville. That's not our audience, and we lost, many thousands of dollars because of that. So one thing I always recommend businesses do is AdSense for mobile apps. So exclude this. This is the first thing you want to exclude. Let's go down here, and I'm just going to show you. This is going to make your life a lot easier. It's going to make I don't know how to say how much easier your life is going to be when you do this. Go down to exclusions. So then you just, all of this is fairly straightforward. If you've been working with AdWords before, you should know how to do this. But I just copied and pasted AdSense for mobile apps. Exclude that. What's going to happen is you're not going to show up on all these spammy placements. You don't want your ad showing inside of mobile apps, because when somebody's inside a mobile app, that's the lowest quality traffic you can ever purchase. And this one exclusion takes all of that out. This can be the difference between whether your campaign on display is profitable or losing, just losing tons of money. So let's get out of this. You'll notice, well, we'll get into this in a second, but you'll notice another thing I do is they have site category options. So you can actually exclude entire categories of sites or content where you don't want your ads to show. Use this. This is really powerful. Sometimes I exclude all video content. People on videos are typically not looking to purchase anything right away. It's, people use video advertising more for branding purposes, and if your company's into branding, that's cool, go for it. But if you're more interested in making money and doing whatever you want with that, typically I exclude things. In this case, I just exclude live streaming video. Other things you can do, Google excludes, I think, sexually suggestive sites by default. The fact is, people aren't really going to be looking for bed bugs on sexually suggested sites. We also have a number of other categories excluded here: gambling, in-game, error pages, park domains, photo sharing pages, video sharing pages. Some of these photo and video blogs are so untargeted, and they're kind of low quality, bottom of the barrel traffic. They're not going to work very well, and that's what we found. So we just get rid of those. Displays just a massive, it's such a massive, there's so much traffic out there. We don't, it's a lot of it is junk. And we also, this is really important, get rid of the mobile app stuff. Again, this is the difference between whether you're going to be successful or not. Screenshot this page, do whatever you want with it, but I'd exclude all of these categories. It's going to make a big difference in whether your campaign on display is profitable or not. Let's go back here. Okay, I have to go over, I didn't finish going over placements, but if you look here, we can, let's check out all these placements. And let's, we're going to have to look over so this campaign has been running for a while, and we're going to have to look over a longer period of time to really get any good data here, just because, there's so many placements. Now what you'll see is, since there's so many placements, I exclude things a lot quicker. Now we're seeing eHow. eHow is working great for us. The cost per converted click is $13. So we're paying $13 and we're getting, getting a customer, worth about, they're worth a little over $100 to us. Each customer, about $120, or to the company. Advertising for them, our CPA is $35. So this is just incredibly profitable right here. WikiHow is also working. Lots of these, how-to sites are really solid traffic. eHow and WikiHow I've always found working great. And notice this is also working great for us, is Bedbug Central, really targeted sites that have to do with, your exact subject. For instance, if like the Love Vitamin, if there is a, let's say, an acne forum, you know, acne.org, boom, maybe there's health boards, e-health forum. These are all going to real self acne forum. Now let's see which of these places have, I think I'm going to see some ads. So look, we have health boards, we have some ads here. This is really going to work well. If you do keyword targeting acne and then you target this site, you're going to get really good quality, quality people on here, because these are people all searching for solutions. And usually forums, the great thing about them is they are SEO optimized for long tail searches. So people looking for, you know, natural, awesome acne cure, right here. They have lots, there are going to be a lot of long tail searches this forum is SEO for, and putting your ad on here, I mean, personally, I don't do a lot of SEO because this is, for me, it's just easier to find a site like healthboards.com that's already well SEO'd and just buy their advertising space. We're seeing eHealth Forum again. We're seeing lots of ads. They're really untargeted though. They're saying, this is has offers. They should be showing acne ads on here. Acne community again. We're seeing these. We're seeing AdSense spaces. See, this is LinkedIn advertising, but this would be useful for to put acne ads on. Some good before and after pictures. I'm not seeing any ads on this site. Again, acneforum.net, you can buy advertising there. Ads by Google, boom. So, really helpful. In the case of law firms, you're not gonna find as, I don't think you're gonna find as many forums and stuff that have advertising like Acne does, but possibly, we're seeing lawyers.com, expert law, law answers. Typically, the forums that have Google AdWords on them, oh, you know what? I'm wrong. Usually, stuff with really high-end advertising is selling their advertising. Would prefer to just call up a lawyer and sell this spot, but here, look, expertlaw.com, put your personal injury ad right here. Look, the most active subforum is about accidents and injuries. So if you can get, if you want it to be even more targeted, you just advertise in this subforum and get your ad right there all the time. Just a side note, a way to expand beyond AdWords would be just calling up this company and asking them to place, your banner ad in this subform. Lawyers.com, again, we are seeing advertising right here. Law answers, we have advertising right here. I don't think there are too many gravity separator forums. We can look at that. So there aren't gravity separator forums, but we are seeing the farming forum. Can anybody help me set up a separator, blah, blah, blah. And this would be a good spot to put an ad for, these are people talking about gravity separators. And, so this would be a good place to place your own ad for gravity separators. But you're going to find, you're going to find a lot fewer spots to place ads. And in that case, I would literally just copy this. Copy this thread to the gravity separator, and I would go in and plus targeting, and I would just take a second to load. I just go down here and I just say, just say add multiple placements one, and I just add that right there. Just copy farming form, add, easy. You're not going to get a lot of traffic, but it'll work. You know, it's targeted, and you know these people, you know, are in the market for gravity separators. Other things I do, notice I will, you know, so this, in this case, I would actually just go like that. I'd change things around. I'd get rid of this bid modifier, you know, and I'd get rid of other bid modifiers as well. Notice howstuffworks.com and mayoclinic.com, or, you know, like maybe something was going wrong here, but howstuffworks.com was getting $71 per cost per converted click, so we excluded that. Not sure why this was excluded, but you know, I'm sure there were reasons. Notice fleabites.net was, you know, it's one conversion in $58. It's probably time to just, you know, exclude this placement from the ad group. But I'll let, you know, I have an account manager on this account, so I don't want to, you know, I'm going to let them do everything. And yeah, generally you just want to exclude things that are not working that you've spent more money on. As opposed to the 10, you know, where I said originally when launching campaigns, I use the 10 times CPA rule, where, you know, I'm willing to spend, you know, if the CPA target is $35, I'm willing to spend $350 on a campaign before I see if it works. On a particular placement, I'm only willing to spend $35 per placement to see if it's working, just because there's so many placements and they should convert faster. If I were to spend $350 for every placement that Google AdSense has, and Google has, I don't know, let's say 1 million different websites possible they could display ads on, I mean, you just wouldn't have enough money. You know, you'd have to spend $350 million to figure out if every placement is worthwhile. So you just take that down a lot. So next level is by campaign. Part of the reason why we have, you know, why in our original, in my original video about account structure, I tell you guys to set up things in a very organized manner, as opposed to, you know, some crappy software programs that set up thousands of campaigns or hundreds of campaigns for you. It's very organized, because this way you can really identify what area of your advertising is driving, you know, one, the most volume, and two, you know, what the costs are of it. So what we're seeing is, you know, in this case, all of our advertising is actually working out fairly well. Let's just go to last month's data just to make it a little smaller. But we are seeing, okay, if we're looking at last month, we are seeing, oh, display advertising is getting a little high. Costs per converted click are getting a little high. Now we can go into that and we can drill down a little deeper. But as I said, some software programs, Speed PPC, Kenshu, Marin, WordStream are all software programs that Acquisio are all software companies that, you know, sell their software for thousands of dollars plus percentage of spend plus, you know, long contracts and everything. They just set up, you know, they say advertising can be taken, you know, purely scientific, and they have their software to spit out hundreds of campaigns for people, and they just don't work, and it really muddies up the account and makes optimization impossible. The way we've set it up in our accounts is we've made optimization completely possible, and which is how I've been able to manage, you know, $2.5 million in monthly spend just by myself, only working a few hours a day. So, you know, that's kind of the beauty of the structure we're doing here. That's if you take it to the extreme. Yeah, but we see everything else is working out great. But obviously, optimizing by campaign, we would now know, okay, we have to go in here and figure out what's going wrong. We dive into these two ad groups. Optimization by ad set. This is obvious. By ad, so let's go into here. So let me find something where we have multiple ads running, so we can use it as a good example. So here we have multiple ads running. These are all new. Let's look last 30 days. So what we're seeing is the best right now. What we're seeing is the best cost per converted click is coming from do not buy other products, low cost bedbug removal solution, tracks, traps, and kills bedbugs, bedroomguardian.com. Now, we don't have enough data to rule out the other competitors yet. The competing ads yet. But what we're seeing is this ad, pretty sneaky, is doing very well. Now, we're going to let this ad run for more clicks until we can say, okay, this is the winner. What I would do is I might pause this ad because we see, or at least let it run for a little more, because we're seeing it's not performing that much differently from our first ad right here. And also by pausing this ad, I'd be putting more preference to do not buy other products ad right here, so we can see, we can tell, we can make sure see if it works faster, which would be exciting. Keep in mind, it also looks like the clicks, this has been running probably longer than this ad has been running, so it might actually just be the time period that these ads were running. That actually doesn't seem up here to be so. It isn't a proper split test unless you're testing ads at the same time. Hope that makes sense. Another level of optimization is by geography. So geography is a really powerful one, and I don't understand why people don't look at this. You just go to dimensions right over here, and this might geographic. This might take a little time to load. Let's look at custom. So with geographic targeting, you're going to want to look over a really wide time period. Depending on what type of advertising you're doing, you're probably going to be looking at all 50 states of the U.S. In the case of the gravity separators, they're probably selling across a number of countries, so they might want to look at different the geographic region by country. Or if you're a lawyer, they might, in the case of Grossman Law Firm, one of the segmentations they might want to look at is geographic performance by county, because they're just working in New Jersey. So they're going to want to see, which county in New Jersey performs the best, because that's kind of, you want to use the level of optimization that works with you and that you have the most data on. Because again, statistical significance. If you don't know what that is, look it up. And you should have paid more attention in college. So what we're seeing here is we are seeing, our best states, Texas, Ohio, New York, blah, blah, blah. Our cost per converted click is fine. But what I like to do is I actually like to segment it by, from top to bottom, most expensive state to least expensive state. And what we're seeing is, man, look at this. Newfoundland and Labrador in Canada are not buying bedbug products. We're getting clicks, but nobody's buying. And why is that? Maybe the product doesn't ship to Newfoundland and Labrador, or maybe, I'm not sure. But maybe people, there's got to be some sort of reasoning behind there. and I dig deeper to figure out what is that reason why people are not why are people not buying in Newfoundland and Labrador? Another thing I'd look at is, you know, are people, why aren't people, our conversion rates are really low in England. We have a really low conversion rate and, high cost per converted click in England, and I'd bring that, I'd bring that bid down. So I'll show you how to do that in a second. First, I'm actually going to modify the columns, and I'm going to say, okay, I actually don't even want to see the region, I just want to see the country. So let's see if that helps. So what we're seeing is England, our cost per converted click overall is higher. Ireland, it's higher. New Zealand, New Zealand and Australia are about in line. Canada's fine. And obviously the US is the bulk of our volume. That being said, these other countries are adding an extra 10% to the bottom line, or just in terms of sales. So, it's arguably useful. Now what we do is, in the case of this, let's bring up our handy dandy calculator here. We know that England, the average CPA is at 55, and we want a $35 CPA, so I just did divided by. So we really want to, it's 50%, 57% higher than what we want. So what you actually do is you do 35 divided by your CPA divided by the actual CPA, and then you do, you can do -1. Basically, we need to decrease the bid by 35%. So we're going to decrease it by a third, and that's what we would do in our campaigns. So what you do to do that is you just go to settings, go in your campaign, you go to settings, you go to locations right here, and then let's see where we have. Okay, it looks like we already put bids down, but the bids are down by 75%. So if we were going to decrease this another third, we just decrease the bids by, whatever, 85%. I think this bit, we were looking over a large period of data, so it could have been that, the person working on this account has actually decreased the bid already, after seeing, the poor performance in these regions of the world. And just note, look at all these bid modifiers we have. Check that out. We are, actively always looking at geographic data because it's very important. Once your account gets to the level where you can utilize that data, it's really powerful, and it's going to make you a much more competitive advertiser than the next guy. A day of the week, another easy one. Let's check this out. Dimensions, super easy. Day of the week, you click over here, view, time, day of the week, boom. And what we're seeing is, we get, now we've done modifiers on all these days, but we're seeing certain days of the week, Sunday, Wednesday, are performing slightly differently than, the rest of the days. It's about 10% higher cost, 10 to 20% higher costs. Why is that? I don't know. Each industry has its own trends and seasonality, and this is just one more thing to look by. Payday loans, for instance, do really well. I think, I think it's towards the end of the week because people run out of money or something like that. So how do you work on day of the week stuff? Well, you go to add schedule, and you can just set a bid adjustment by, certain times of day or certain days of the week. As you see, we've done here. It's really easy. You just do plus add schedule. Another dimension you can look at. Check this out. You go to time, hour of the day. Now, we've been doing bid modifiers for a while, but what you'll see is it start, during midnight, 1 o'clock, midnight and 1 o'clock, the CPAs are super high. But as we go further into the day, people are more likely to convert. See that? It's not just that it's not clicks are more expensive or less expensive. It's just people are less likely to convert at certain hours of the day, and people are more likely to convert at other hours of the day. Look, at 9 o'clock in the morning, people are the most likely to convert. Maybe that's when they got bitten by bed bugs. They woke up with bed bug bites. They're like, I want to buy this bed bug product. And what you'll see is, I'm sure there are trends like that for, acne. Maybe towards the middle of the week is the best time for selling acne products because maybe, I know stress causes acne, and maybe that and or stress causes acne breakouts, and maybe during the middle of the week people are having their worst acne periods. Who knows? You know, um, for lawyers, maybe people are always getting in injuries more often in the weekend, and that's when they need a lawyer. I'm not sure what it is for your industry, but you'll notice there are clear trends in every industry, and knowing when to, raise your bids or lower your bids is going to be very important to making you the most competitive advertiser in your space. So after this, I hope this has been a useful section. This is one of my most this section on optimization is probably the section that is closest to my heart. At the very least, it's right up there with copywriting for me, and this is just quintessential. Constantly going through all the data, looking at everything by campaign, ad group, keyword, ad, day of the week, hour of the day, network, placement, looking at your negatives, looking at things by categories, looking at things by audiences, etc. You're going to become a super powerful advertiser. I didn't even go, then there are more levels of optimization you can go into when you start bringing in landing pages. I'm not going to go over those right now, but basically you want to optimize your landing page for devices, mobile browsers, tablets, and desktop. You're going to want to optimize your landing page for different screen resolutions. You're going to want to optimize your landing page for different OSs, different browsers. There's Opera, there's Internet Explorer, there's Chrome, there's Firefox. You're also going to want to optimize for different browser versions. Lots of people have websites that show up very poorly in Internet Explorer 6 and 7 and 8, but lots of people use those browsers. So you want to optimize your page. So there's a million degrees of optimization you can do. They're all helpful. They're all incremental. They're all helpful, and they make you more competitive than the next person. After this, I'm going to, in the next video, I'm going to talk about how to expand, how you can work with actually my company. We're a CPA company, or an affiliate network, and how you can expand beyond AdWords advertising and start an affiliate program for your company. Once you know your CPA, and basically bring on lots of affiliates to do the marketing for you, and only pay them based on leads, sales, or phone calls. So I hope this has been helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.